The call to Miami specifically for me actually came in October, November 2014. And I went on a 40-day fast to really hear from God and get clarity on the call as to whether Miami was the place He was calling us to live in and love on. And He spoke to me through this verse in Acts 7:34, which is where God calls Moses. And He pretty much says four things to Moses. The first thing He says is this, that I have indeed seen the oppression of my people in Egypt. Now that's really comforting to know that God sees the exact location of His people in Miami. The second thing He says is that I've seen and that I've heard their groanings. You know, like those groanings you hear, that the little baby crying at 3 a.m. in the morning and you pretend like you don't hear? Well, God actually hears. He doesn't miss a thing, that He's heard every prayer and heard every cry of His people in Miami. And the third thing He says is that now I'm coming down to rescue them. He has a very comforting thought to know that God would leave His very throne in heaven to come down to earth to rescue His people in Miami. So I love where God says that He has seen, that He has heard, and now He's the one that's coming down to rescue His people. And that's awesome because it proves that it's not just a good idea, but it's actually God's idea. But I love the next part of the verse, the fourth part of what He says is that now He invites us onto the pages of His story and onto His plan, and He says, now you go, Moses, I'm sending you back to Egypt. And it's those 5 words that really captivated my heart, because there was so many different places where we could go and plant a church. But for me personally, there was only one place where He could send me back to, and that was Miami, to a people that I love, a people that I have a heart for, my people. Why do I say my people? Because I understand what it's like to live in Miami as the outsider, as the under-resourced family, as a Jamaican family. And you know, there's many people like that in Miami. In fact, 50% of the people that live in Miami were born outside of Miami and born outside of the United States. Now you can only imagine what that does to the sense of unity and the sense of community. So in Miami, it's this very fragmented and diverse people. And I believe that God's calling us to bring unity through the diversity, where people divide because of their gender, their race, their age, their culture, ethnicity, their sex, and socioeconomic status, that in a place where people divide by their differences, that they would unite because of their differences. And that's why Miami for us, that we can bring unity through diversity. Whether you're a banker or a billionaire, or you're broken and burnt out, that all of us have the opportunity to discover our part in His story. And that's why we're going, because God has seen, God has heard, He's coming down, and we are privileged that we get to play a part in helping people discover their part in His story.